Welcome to That's Good Sports. I am Brandon. All football fans will finally be united under one common phrase, Perna. What was the hottest buzzword or phrase for the NFL in 2020? It was only Mahomes. And now the Chiefs have finally turned that into a literal reality. I'm pleased to introduce your starting offensive line for the Kansas City Chiefs in 2021. Only Mahomes. At right tackle, we've got only Mahomes. Guard, center, guard, only Mahomes. And returning at left tackle, only Mahomes. What the hell are the Kansas City Chiefs doing? They just released both of their starting tackles, Eric Fisher and Mitchell Schwartz, on the same day that Russell Wilson might actually be traded? Are they already regretting the 10-year deal with Patrick Mahomes? Do they want him to demand a trade in a couple years as he becomes the most sacked quarterback in the NFL, just like Russell Wilson? The similarities are eerie. Just like Wilson, the Chiefs made it to back-to-back Super Bowls, losing the second one to a Tom Brady team. I hope the salary cap drops every year because the NFL offseason is bonkers. Bonkers, I say, because if I use a curse in the intro, YouTube really slaps me on the wrist. Like a bad, bad boy. Let's try and explain these bizarre moves by the Chiefs. That's good sports. Hey, if you like your NFL news to offend every ounce of your being, consider subscribing here to my channel, That's Good Sports on YouTube. Today's episode brought to you by manscaped.com/goodsports. Manscaped has been sponsoring this show for over 2 years now, which means my pubics have been on point for that long. My favorite product that Manscaped offers is their Performance Package Kit because it comes with everything you need to groom, which I now do simultaneously. The new Lawnmower 3.0 is the waterproof below-the-beer gut trimmer with skin-safe technology to mow down those pubes in the kit. You also get the Crop Preserver Ball Deodorant and the Weed Whacker nose and ear hair trimmer so you can clearly smell what you're hearing. And if you use my link below and code GOODSPORTS right now, you'll get a free travel bag and anti-chafing boxer briefs, which I'm wearing now. Never chafe while shooting YouTube shows. Plus, you get 20% off and free international shipping from the company that's been supporting me longer than anyone. The Kansas City Chiefs must have enjoyed the way the Buccaneers defense absolutely dominated them in the Super Bowl. They must have a thirst for humiliation, a desire to return to their old ways of losing in the playoffs every year because they have released both of their starting 2020 tackles in Mitchell Schwartz and Eric Fisher. Both of these gents did not play in the Super Bowl, and, well, we all saw what happened. Patrick Mahomes rushed for over 497 yards behind the line of scrimmage in fear for his life. A healthy Mahomes, of course, would have rushed for 600 behind the line. Now, according to Ben Albright, the Chiefs felt okay releasing two of the most important players on their team because they have one of their replacements on the roster already in Lucas Niang. Niang did not allow a sack in college, so he may be great. He was taken in the third round out of last year's draft and never got on the field last season because he opted out before it began. So that's a big unknown to hinge your offensive line on. And we know what happens when that offensive line starts breaking down. We start talking about how incredible Patrick Mahomes' incompletions are. As for the other tackle spot, I guess their plan is to just figure it out. They'll figure it out. I'll have to check which tackles are available with the 31st overall pick. I guess the only requirement is they be better than Mike Rimmers. And that probability is probably 98% according to the advanced data I have. If KC dumped both guys so they can pay out the ass for, say, Trent Williams in free agency, well then, I will be borrowing Tom Grossi's bathtub toaster in a week because I will be I will have no reason to go on. And maybe that's the move. Dump 2 guys to get 1 elite guy if you think there's another guy already on the team to replace the guys you released. Now, I did love Bills fan 1991's suggestion on Twitter. All this says is that maybe the Bills should take a good O-line guy at pick 30 just so KC can't get their hands on him. That's a great point. People often debate the draft strategy of drafting for need or drafting the best player available, but the most effective drafting technique might actually be taking the guy who will fuck the team picking after you the hardest, especially when that team was the only thing that stopped you from getting to the Super Bowl. Maybe they shouldn't have gotten so cute and spent that 32nd overall pick on a running back last season. Maybe they should have seen a little bit into the future. I sure hope Clyde Edwards-Helaire is a better pass blocker than you thought. Welcome to reality, Kansas City. It turns out the cap is real, and you guys are now paying the Patrick price. Now, even I admitted last year that I thought Chiefs GM Brett Veach was a sorcerer. And not just because when you see him, your first thought is, now that's a guy who definitely dedicated his entire life to becoming a magician. It was because he turned $170 in cap space into extensions for Mahomes and Kelsey, but the cuts at the tackle position clear about $18 million in cap space for the Chiefs, and now we're going to see how they navigate maintaining the less sexy but equally important pieces on the team while also having a franchise QB. As great as Mahomes is, it is much harder to win in the postseason if your offensive line is bad. I understand moving on from one of the tackles. The Schwartz release to me seems ill-advised. He was the better tackle and the cheaper tackle. And yes, he missed most of 2020 with the back injury. And back injuries are never an easy issue to correct. But during a Super Bowl window, you should not ever, for any reason, release one of, if not the best, right tackles in the league. If there is a slight chance he does not retire, if there's a slight chance he is healthy enough to play, restructure his contract. I'm saying you keep him till he actually retires, because this offseason is an outlier. So even if Schwartz retired late, say after the draft, and you wanted to cut him because the cap dropped and you were trying to clear some space, you'll be okay if he retires later, because there's gonna be a bunch of free agents available all the way up until the season starts. And yes, I know the Chiefs technically got to the Super Bowl without either of these tackles, but Fisher tore his Achilles in the championship game. I think had Kansas City played without him for a longer period of time, they would not be releasing him and Schwartz right now. Hell, I think the Browns' Myles Garrett is the difference in the divisional game, and Cleveland wins if Fisher weren't playing. Fisher didn't allow a single pressure in that game, so he was important all the way up till the Super Bowl. If Schwartz is going to retire, why cut Eric Fisher? I'm not trying to talk shit, KC. Okay, maybe a little bit, but I'm trying to warn you. Tackles aren't easy to find. Trust me. Sometimes they take 4 years to develop. Chiefs fans are talking like Schwartz was never healthy. He played in 134 straight games until this season, a snap streak of 7,894. Again, maybe he retires. I don't think he knows yet, but if he comes back, this is a mistake. Unless maybe this is one of those classic get rid of a guy 1 year too early scenarios. But right now, I love how dumb it is. This is, as a Broncos fan, all I have to grab onto. Look, football fans don't make sense to me. A month and a half ago, what was the biggest reason the Chiefs lost the Super Bowl? Chiefs fans, our offensive line was hurt. Today, the Chiefs cut those injured linemen. Chiefs fans, what a smart move by the team. We have the guys already to replace them. We had to cut them. I'm pretty sure that's the same joke Devin White was alluding to on Twitter as well. If I was ever on the fence, I no longer am. The Broncos must bring Von Miller back. Bring in every pass rusher you can, because now the Chiefs will be truly vulnerable on the edge. Mitchell Schwartz was literally the first right tackle I watched shut down Von Miller. If the Broncos weren't chained to Juwan James with a terrible contract, I'd be all in on them signing Mitchell Schwartz to start at right tackle, which has been the black hole on the Broncos roster for years now. The last guy coming off back surgery the Broncos took a chance on was DeMarcus Ware, and that worked out. I think Ware had back surgeries every year just for fun. Peyton Manning had 4 neck surgeries, worked out. One injury doesn't render a man useless. Unless, of course, it's a penis injury. Thanks for watching That's Good Sports. Please subscribe here on YouTube. We will be monitoring the Russell Wilson situation, and make sure you come back tonight, Thursday, for a special live announcement. It's big.